a quick introduction to pi. Pi, Pi, or the Greek letter pi, is an irrational number 3.1415926535897, and it keeps on going as irrational numbers do forever. It is non-terminating and non-repeating. But we haven't really talked about what pi is or why it's important. If you draw any circle and measure its diameter, the distance across the middle through the center from here to here, and its circumference, which is the distance all around the outside of the circle. And if you divide those out and do the circumference divided by the diameter, you will get pi, 3.1415926 for every single circle ever in the world. It's pretty cool. It's pretty important. We can't find anything to do with circles without knowing pi. Now, because of how important it is, it gets a lot of fame. So, for example, there's pi digit reciting competitions. And the record, or the official record, is 70,000 digits of pi recited. There's books. Here's the start of a poem. How I wish I could calculate pi. This is in a form called Pilish. It's not really a language. There's a whole book written in this, and it looks a bit confusing, but if you count the number of syllables, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 9, 2, the syllable count is the same as the correct position in the digits of pi. Now, you can't use this to memorize pi because it's a bit slow to go how? 1, 2, 3, 3, I, 1. But it's quite interesting that people write poems based on pi. So that's pi. That's why it's so important. It's just the circumference divided by the diameter of any circle anywhere in the world. Now, to have a little bit more of an in-depth look, and you can stop at this point if you want. Some of you who are feeling kind of clever might have said, well, how do we get it? I mean, sure, I can measure this as accurately as possible and measure this as accurately as I can and divide it out, but that still doesn't keep going like this. There's inaccuracy happening. And of course, there are other ways of calculating pi. But they're difficult because, like pi, they keep going on forever. Here's one formula that would calculate pi, but you see I've left it blank. 4 times 1 minus 1/3 plus 1/5 minus 1/7 plus 1/9 minus 1/11 plus, can you work out the pattern? It's always going to be 1 up here, and I'm going with the odd numbers here, so this is, oops, writing backwards, 13. This was a plus, so this is a minus. 1 over 15 plus 1 over 17 minus 1 over 19. But you can see it keeps going forever and ever and ever. It would be pretty easy to work this much of it out. You know, yep, you've got to do all this stuff here, and then times it by 4, and great, you'll get really close to pi. But to get accuracy to hundreds of thousands, millions of decimal places, we've got to run a really, really immense computer program to do these calculations for us, and I mean, that's madly expensive, that much computer time. So it's only really with the advent of supercomputers that we were able to calculate pi to this ridiculous number of decimal places. And of course, it's no use really to us that I can think of. Maybe someone's thought of a use for it, but it's an interesting number. It's such an important number, and it has sort of bizarre mass market appeal. So that's your quick little introduction to pi.